Ashley Darby and Gizelle Bryant bring out the worst in each other. It's time for Bravo to separate the pair. Bravo has a history of making some dynamic duos thanks to the formats of their docu-follow shows. Some pairs are unofficially tied to one another simply by circumstance. For the Real Housewives of Potomac's Ashley Darby and Gizelle Bryant, they have shared many moments together in their reality television history. As single ladies during Season 9 of The Real Housewives of Potomac, fans watched them experience speed dating together. Apparently, this experiment was enough to convince Bravo to invite them both to their dating show extraordinaire, Love Hotel. The interestingly engaging and slightly wholesome dating show watches four legendary housewives, including Ashley Gizelle, Luann de Lesseps of The Real Housewives of New York, and Shannon Storms Beater of The Real Housewives of Orange County, as they dip their toes in the dating pool to find their perfect match. While we don't know who they'll ultimately select, and if the romance in paradise translates into the real world, there is one thing that we know for certain. Bravo needs to break up Ashley and Gizelle and let them have their own experiences. Before we dive into explaining why Ashley and Gizelle need their own separate time in the spotlight, we are not going to get in between their business relationship. Hine, the athletic wear line that the women launched right before our eyes, should remain intact. And as long as we are invited to their parties without any time restrictions, sign us up for a charity event. But beyond that, putting them together on Love Hotel has actually been a bit of a detriment to them as reality television characters. While Love Hotel was filmed after the blind dates that became a plotline on Season 9, it seemed logical to include both women in the new series. Though it did spoil us to the ultimate result of how their relationships with their civilians ended, their energetic charisma likely helped with their casting. And really, how many eligible bachelorettes in the Real Housewives cinematic universe are actually on the market? By putting both women on the show together, they became a package deal. They were connected to one another, having a history, which helped figure out which men would be the right fit for them. But it also meant that, unlike Luann and Shannon, their stories were still tied together. And to make matters worse, when Ashley somehow had a whiff of an older man, she ended up making out with Ralph Mastrangelo, the guy Gizelle has been dating. Ashley had options that none of the other women wanted, and yet she found a way to make a plotline of animosity with her fellow Potomac star. Was it genuine, or was Ashley really fulfilling her daddy issue fantasy in paradise? Regardless, here we are, discussing Ashley in regard to Gizelle. Bravo fans have spent years with both women. At the start of their time together, they were at odds. Will anyone ever forget Gizelle calling Michael Darby creepy? To her credit, she knew all along how icky he was, and maybe that's what ultimately brought them to become good friends in the end. But Ashley has never had the proper chance to showcase herself without someone else in the discussion. Even during Season 9, Gizelle and Ashley were the new tag team with Robin Dixon out of the picture. Ashley was slotted into the Green Eye Bandits, rather than allowing her story of being free from her divorce to shine. Though the Karen Huger of it all didn't help either woman. Whatever the case, Ashley and Gizelle feed one another's messes. As far as Gizelle, she is a strong, powerful, independent woman. Maybe she is a girl's girl, but whenever she is doing something Bravo-related, it's never solo. There is always someone attached at her hip. Bravo's chat room allowed her to collaborate with the Real Housewives of Atlanta's Portia Williams, Below Deck's Kate Chastain, and Summer House's Hannah Berner. Eventually, when Gizelle was cast on Real Housewives' Ultimate Girls Trip, Portia found herself as a late replacement, but Gizelle was also forced to experience the trip to Thailand alongside Candiace Dillard-Bassett. The trip was already filled with some dynamic duos, including the Real Housewives of Miami's Alexia Napola and Marisol Patton, and the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City's Heather Gay and Whitney Rose. It forced Gizelle to get lumped into Portia and Candiace conversations based on proximity. Both Ashley and Gizelle deserve a chance to find their footing in reality television on their own. There will be naysayers who might say they couldn't stand on their own, but we won't ever know that until they get that chance. As Love Hotel continues on, we'll learn how their friendship ultimately changes. I will say that even my relationship with Gizelle changed quite a bit. Ashley told Bravo's Daily Dish. I mean, yeah, we talk. We talk like for a couple minutes here and there. But we actually got to spend 3 solid weeks together, without our children, without anybody else really interfering. So our relationship grew exponentially. Did Ralph really wreck things between the Potomac ladies? 4 years, The Real Housewives of Potomac has dazzled fans with its perfect blend of glamour, mess, and deeply personal storylines that balance the ridiculous with the relatable. But amidst the ever-rotating door of cast dynamics and champagne-flinging feuds, one duo has consistently brought more chaos than charm: Ashley Darby and Gizelle Bryant. While each woman is a powerhouse in her own right, compelling, controversial, and undeniably camera-ready, together, they're combustible. And not in a fun, let's shake the table kind of way. More like let's burn the whole house down while pretending it's fine. At first glance, their friendship might seem like a strategic alliance. Two veterans of the show, linked by tenure and mutual enemies. But over time, their partnership has mutated into something toxic, a codependency that feeds off drama and shields them from real accountability. If the hallmark of a good housewives duo is balance, think Robin and Gizelle once, or Karen and Monique for a brief, glorious moment. Ashley and Gizelle are the opposite. They amplify each other's worst impulses, and the show suffers for it. Let's start with Ashley. Once the free-spirited wild card of Potomac, she brought earthy humor, Yovazan, and messy marital drama in spades. Viewers connected with her journey as a young woman navigating a fraught marriage with Michael Darby, and even when she was in the wrong, and let's be real, she often was, there was a vulnerability to her confessions that felt genuine. But enter the Gizelle effect. Gizelle Bryant is the green-eyed bandit, sarcastic, sharp-tongued, and unbothered by logic if it gets in the way of a good read. In small doses, she's TV gold, an instigator who knows her assignment. But paired with Ashley, she transforms into something colder, more calculating. And worse, Ashley begins to mimic her. Suddenly, Ashley's self-awareness fades into the background. The yoga mat gets rolled up. In its place, strategic pot stirring delivered with fox innocence and a suspiciously well-timed smirk. This was never clearer than during the Season 8 reunion. As the group unraveled into arguments, Ashley and Gizelle sat with smug expressions, tag-teaming jabs, and supporting each other's half-truths. It wasn't loyalty, it was self-preservation. They rarely hold each other accountable, and when one is called out, the other swoops in to deflect or redirect. It's a game of distraction dressed up as friendship. And let's not forget how this alliance has warped the energy of the show. Their joint feuds with other cast members, Wendy, Candy S., Karen, and now Mia, often start with slivers of truth, but they quickly spiral into mean girl territory. Gossip becomes gospel. Assumptions harden into accusations. By the time the dust settles, it's no longer clear what the original issue was. What is clear is that Ashley and Gizelle have made it their mission to control the narrative, and when they're in sync, there's no oxygen left in the room for anything else. To be fair, this isn't all their fault. Bravo loves a duo: Teresa and Dina, Neen and Kim, Lisa and Kyle. The network knows that dynamic pairings drive engagement, but what makes a duo legendary is contrast. One to push, one to pull. Ashley and Gizelle aren't opposites. They're reflections of each other's worst instincts, like a house of mirrors with no exit sign. Fans have taken notice. Reddit threads, Twitter rants, and TikToks have all called out the increasingly performative nature of their friendship. Where is the growth? The evolution? Viewers aren't just here for drama. They're here for character development. Gizelle hasn't seriously opened up about her personal life in seasons. Ashley's post-divorce storyline has been so shrouded in denial and deflection, it's hard to root for her the way we once did. Together, they've created a bubble where personal accountability doesn't exist, and real vulnerability is a liability. This doesn't mean we need to fire one, or both. They are, Objectively, still vital to the franchise. But they need space. They need to breathe. More importantly, they need to rediscover who they are apart, not as a duo playing defense, but as individual women with layered stories to tell.